London, a city of grand cathedrals, narrow alleyways, and in the mid-19th century, a silent killer lurking beneath its very streets. This is the story of a battle fought not with swords or armies, but with maps, microscopes, and the courage to question what everyone believed was true. Today, we revisit one of the most transformative public health mysteries in history, the cholera outbreak of London.
Wanna learn without the stress? Hey, welcome to Cartooklity.
Imagine London in the early 1800s, the world's largest city. Bustling markets, horses clattering down cobblestone roads, gloomy fog drifting across the Thames. But behind the progress and prosperity were the slums, overcrowded neighborhoods, open drains, rotting waste piled in corners. And beneath it all, a labyrinth of sewers so poorly designed that they often overflowed into drinking wells. London was growing, but its infrastructure was not. Now imagine you're living there. You share a single water pump with dozens of families. Water tastes odd, smells metallic, but what choice do you have? Into this world enters something almost invisible, a bacterium later named Vibrio cholerae. But the people of the time had no idea. They had never seen bacteria. They didn't understand how disease truly spread. Most believed in miasma theory, the idea that foul smells or bad air caused illness. And in a city where everything smelled foul, fear was everywhere. Cholera first arrived in London in the 1830s, carried from Asia along expanding trade routes. It struck suddenly, it killed quickly, and it terrified everyone. People would wake up healthy, and by nightfall they were gone. Victims suffered violent vomiting, unstoppable diarrhea, and rapid dehydration. Skin tightened, eyes sank, and bodies took on a blue, ghost-like hue. This deadly transformation led some to call cholera the Blue Death. Doctors were baffled. Ordinary citizens panicked. Newspapers printed theories, some logical, some absurd, but no one truly understood the enemy. Not yet. Among the physicians of London was a man named Dr. John Snow. Quiet, analytical, a thinker more than a talker. He doubted the miasma theory. Why? Because cholera didn't behave like a disease spread by air. It clustered in strange patterns. It appeared in some households, but skipped others entirely. So Snow asked questions. Simple ones, the kind many others had overlooked. Why did some people fall sick while their next-door neighbor stayed healthy? Why did cholera explode in one small area and leave another untouched? Could the source be something people consumed rather than something they breathed? Snow believed cholera was carried through water, a radical idea at the time. Some colleagues dismissed him as eccentric. Others thought him reckless for challenging the medical consensus. But Snow persisted. He waited for his moment. And in 1854, it arrived. The neighborhood of Soho was no stranger to unpleasant smells. But in late August of 1854, a new, invisible horror crept into the area. A child fell ill with cholera. Within days, dozens more were stricken. Within a week, hundreds. Panic gripped the community. Mothers clutched their children. Men fled the city. Clergy prayed over crowded sickbeds. And in the middle of this chaos, Snow saw a chance to prove his theory. What caused this unusually intense cluster of cases? Why here? Why now? He began visiting homes, speaking with families, and recording every case on a map. A simple map that would soon change the world. A dot for each person who died. Dot after dot after dot. The marks began to form a shape. A disturbing concentration, like a black cloud on paper, surrounding one place. The Broad Street water pump. This pump was beloved by residents. Many swore it had the freshest, sweetest water in all of Soho. But Snow suspected the reality was far less pleasant. He interviewed families. He asked where they got their water. He traced their daily habits. And again, the answer pointed to the same source, Broad Street Pump. Even people living far from Soho, those who made special trips just to obtain water from the pump, had been struck by cholera. And families who avoided the pump? They were often spared. Snow gathered his notes, maps, and testimony. And with a mixture of scientific rigor and quiet determination, he approached the local authorities. He presented a bold and urgent proposal. Remove the handle of the Broad Street pump. Imagine the reactions. Some scoffed, some doubted, some asked, how could removing one pump possibly stop an epidemic? But Snow pressed on with calm conviction. Eventually, the officials relented. On September 8, 1854, the pump handle was removed. A small action, a simple, almost symbolic gesture. But the outbreak quickly began to fade. Not instantly, not magically, but significantly. And Snow's map, now famous worldwide, became one of the earliest examples of epidemiology, the science of tracing and understanding disease patterns. But even Snow did not yet know the full story. Later investigations revealed a grim detail. Sewage from a nearby cesspit had seeped into the well that fed the pump. A baby's soiled linens had been washed into the cesspit shortly before the outbreak, likely seeding the well with cholera bacteria. So while citizens believed they were drinking pure, refreshing water, they were actually consuming contaminated sewage. Think about that for a moment. A city unknowingly poisoning itself. Even after the Broad Street outbreak subsided, London's problems were far from over. The Thames River remained polluted beyond imagination. By 1858, the stench became so overpowering that Parliament, yes, the government itself, could no longer ignore the crisis. This moment became known as the Great Stink, a name both unforgettable and utterly accurate. Windows were draped with vinegar-soaked curtains. Legislators fled the chambers in disgust. The city was forced to confront the reality. Water and waste could no longer mix. At last, authorities turned to a visionary engineer named Joseph Bazalgette. His mission: redesign London's sewage system from the ground up. And he did. Bazalgette built massive underground sewers, pumping stations, and new embankments. One of the greatest engineering feats of the Victorian era. His designs were so forward-thinking that many parts are still in use today. The result? Cholera outbreaks declined. Life expectancy rose. And London began to breathe again. John Snow died young, at just 45, never fully seeing his work appreciated. Many colleagues continued to reject his theories during his lifetime. But history is kinder than contemporaries. Today, Snow is recognized as the father of modern epidemiology, a symbol of how curiosity, data, and courage can change the world. His method of mapping disease cases has become a cornerstone of public health. His questioning of old assumptions paved the way for germ theory. And his steady determination helped shift humanity away from centuries of medical misunderstanding. Today, tourists walk through Soho without realizing the silent drama that once unfolded beneath their feet. A replica of the Broad Street pump stands as a quiet monument, a reminder of how one outbreak, one street, and one persistent doctor reshaped modern medicine. London survived cholera, but more than that, London transformed because of it. From tragedy came knowledge, from suffering came progress, and from a simple pump handle came a revolution in public health. This has been the history of the cholera outbreak in London, a story of science, perseverance, and the invisible world that shapes our own.
Click subscribe, come take a peek. It's smart, it's fun, it's cartoon clinic.